Story, let's cross to our reporter Sellwane Khakhau, who's got more details for us. So Sellwane, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you very much, although it seems like this morning we're having unexpected technical issues there. But we are indeed coming live to you from Mahikeng here in the Northwest, where, as you can see here in the background, members of SAFTU participating in the picket. They're also saying that there's quite a number of issues that have led to them here in the province participating in the picket. But joining me now to expand on these issues is the Provincial Secretary of SAFTU here in the Northwest, Sir, thank you very much for joining us. What are some of your issues here?
There are quite a number of issues which are bothering SAFTU, or rather which have been bothering us. Particularly from 2009, some of these issues were not addressed by the administration. And one would recall that SAFTU has been consistent in terms of them raising issues. One of the issues in the province remains the issue of unemployment of the young people, the high rate of the unemployment, which is standing at 43.4% in the province. And then since 2012, there hasn't been any significant change in terms of economic development in the province. And then these dwindling socioeconomic conditions are actually at the most affecting the poor and the vulnerable working class communities. And SAFTU, as one of those progressive organizations, felt that it's high time that we need to raise this issue. Secondly is the issue of the COVID-19 PPEs, that public sector workers have been going to work without being provided with the PPEs. The issue of Regulation 1 of 2008, the failure of government to pay the public servant wage increase. It's one of the boiling issues now, which we have even taken to court. The matter will be sitting in the Constitutional Court during the course of this week, where SAFTU and our unions felt that we cannot sell workers on a silver platter to the bosses. And also the issue of gender-based violence in the province. But of significance is what Tito Mboweni will be delivering today, his budget speech. His budget speech won't be close to what we are actually saying as SAFTU in terms of addressing those fundamental questions like unemployment, inequality, because as SAFTU we want a pro-poor budget. But government has been, cutting down on the expenses on the public expenses and so forth. That on its own, they've already cut more than 300 billion from the budget, which that on its own affected the poor and the vulnerable people. Yeah. And further than that, you have a situation where the government talks about reducing, the number of public service workers, and is only looking at the public servant, the poor workers, rather than cutting on the ministers and so forth. So those are issues that, as SAFTU are saying, if the government is genuine in terms of cutting the budget, they must look at the government level, at the parliament, the MECs, the ministers. You need to at least to reduce their salaries and benefits and so forth. Also, our focus is on the CEO. The CEOs are actually also having an exorbitant salaries. And these SOEs, there are too many for nothing. In South Africa, we have more than 700 SOEs, which are no longer assisting the country to move forward.
Yes. And let me just chip in there. Sorry. I do like how you are expanding on these issues, especially issues of unemployment. Seeing the reality that we are now facing, not just as South Africa, but globally, this COVID-19, a lot of people have lost their jobs. How do you think that particular issue should be handled? Because it's the burning issue at the moment, or one of the burning issues in the country. A lot of people are losing their jobs. How do you think this one should be tackled?
Look, our view as SAFTU is that we have put a proposal before on the Premier. And if you go back to the Premier State of Address on the province in 2018, you would you'd capture it correctly there, that SAFTU, one of the issues that we propose to deal with issue of unemployment in the province, one, you must abolish tenders. That's number one. Two, you must establish what we call a labor forums, where the Premier sits together with the unions, with the MECs and everything. It should be a huge board, a bigger board, where all these socio-economic conditions are dealt with. For an example, let me not go far. Go to Mahikeng local municipality. Around June 2019, they had already exhausted the equitable share. That is why you find there's no infrastructure in North West. You go to Klerksdorp, there's an issue of a group, a criminal element under the auspices of RET, Radical Economic Looting. They call themselves Boko Haram. This Boko Haram group, it is nothing else but a militia group which has been used by certain individuals within the ANC in the province to push for their own tenders. Now, it's a group of assassins in simple terms. This Boko Haram. You go to Klerksdorp now. If you drive in Klerksdorp, you could even come to a point of thinking of lifting the town and putting up, because there are no roads there in Klerksdorp because of Boko Haram. So we are saying the issue of Boko Haram, the issue of Ngakamudiri Mulema. 23 workers were dismissed at Ngakamudiri Mulema. I'm not sure if you are aware of that. For raising pertinent issues around issue of corruption. One official, his salary, for example, if I may put it in figures, one certain individual was appointed into a corporate sector in the Ngakamudiri Mulema municipality. His salary was around 280,000. In 3 months, his salary was now 1.4 million. These are issues which SAFTU is engaging on, is raising sharply. And then there is a report to that effect of the public protector. And the remedial action of the public protector, Sellwane, are binding. But the mayor here, Justice Makolo, he is failing dismally to implement the remedial action of the public protector.
Okay,
yes.
Due to time constraints, I have to cut our interview short a little bit. Just as we wrap up, we understand that you're going to, from here, you will be moving to the Premier's office to deliver or to hand over a memorandum. To whom are you expecting to deliver the memorandum? Is it the Premier himself or somebody else in his office?
Look, our expectation was to hand over the memorandum to the Premier, because one thing good about us, we always communicate with the Premier office. Now, unfortunately, the Premier tomorrow will be delivering the state of the province address. However, the Premier then communicated his decision to us to say, in his absence, that Demusegi will be the one receiving the memorandum on behalf of the Premier's office. We will then be handing over that memorandum at 1 o'clock, I think so, and to the Premier's office. And with me here, I'm having SAFTU General Secretary, SAFTU Deputy General Secretary, Comrade Moleko Phakedi. Maybe can also narrate further as my senior also on the yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Modise. Due to time constraints, we are unable to take the second guest, but perhaps in our next crossing we'll do so. Studio, these are the issues that you heard coming from SAFTU members here in the Northwest. That's how we wrap up. It's back to you for now.
Thank you so much. That's our reporter, Sellwane Khakhau.